Hey guys, this is a modification video for a Montar by Winnergear. As you can see, we have already modded the device. I'm going to show you this in a couple seconds. The reason why I'm putting this in the front of the video is because I'm trying to warn you about the fact that this modification can ruin the product. What we're essentially doing is stretching the springs out. So if you overstretch the springs to the point where this is too wide, you'll ruin the mount. You might be able to recover it by snipping the spring and reapplying it, but at that point it starts getting messy. And if you keep fumbling it up, you'll have to replace the springs, and I don't know if you can find springs to replace this. So keep this in mind. Hope you enjoy the video. I'm going to show you how to stretch out the springs within these arms to fit a large phone like any large phone. This is an iPhone 6 Plus. Like you can see, it's kind of hard. When you're in a car, you cannot get this on without two hands. And if you stretch out the springs, you can do it easily with one. So I'll show you how to do this real quick. The tools that you're going to need to do this are a small Phillips screwdriver, like this guy, and a pair of pliers. Any kind of pair of pliers are fine. Needle nose, regular, it doesn't matter. I'll show you in a second. So the first step that we're going to do is unscrew the cap on the back of the arm mount all the way. And then you have a ball and socket kind of mount going on here. You're going to just pull the arms off the ball, like so. And inside the socket of the arms, there is a small Phillips screw inside of there. So we're going to be unscrewing this. So now that the screw is out, the mount should come apart. After you undo the screw in the back, you just grab, you see this seam right here going down this plastic? You want to grab these arms, these two arms, and separate it from this kind of T-shaped piece of plastic. Just give it a pull. Don't stretch the arms or anything. It's slotted to stay in this hub. So after you open it up and you look in the back here, you see that there's two springs, one on the top, one on the bottom. The end of the spring that we're going to go after is on the, if you look, it's the taller piece of plastic, so you kind of want to just pull the spring off of there. We're going to do it on both sides, right? I put my finger over this nub just so that I don't have a second set of pliers. I'm just going to stretch it away from this nub and stretch the spring out. You just kind of grab it and, give it a good pull to stretch the spring. Oh. Hopefully you don't hurt yourself in the process. These are very strong springs, so, but now as you can see, these starting springs, the one on the left is the stock spring, the one on the right is a little bit looser spring. So we're gonna do that now. Same, pull the spring away from you on the other side. That one a lot smoother. So it's not an exact science on this. You're gonna have to do it by feel. You want to get the springs to be the same size, because if you don't, you're gonna get this weird thing where one arm's gonna be sticking out further than the other when there's no device inside there. So I stretched this spring out to about an inch. The first one that I stretched, I didn't stretch enough, so we're going to stretch that one again. And be careful when you do this. These springs are very strong. They'll fly off and they can hit somebody. If you don't have a good grip on this, I don't recommend doing this. Alright, so I have my two springs stretched out now. As you can see, they're almost twice the length as the starting length. I'm just going to reconnect them back onto their corresponding nubs. Alright, so I have the springs back on. As you can see, the mount by default now is much larger to start with than what it was. We're going to take the hub, I'm going to put it on the back. So the problem with doing this is if you look on the back of the mount, there's a rail system in place to keep this hub on this mount. So on the ends of it, there's less railing, and that's how we initially popped it off in the first place. So when you put it back on, there's railing in the way now because the springs have spread the mount out. So it's kind of a little bit of a trick, but you're gonna have to try to push these together, or somehow slide one side on. So like I'll slide this side on first and see how kind of rails in there, and then I'm gonna bring the other side in while this is pushed on, and kind of push it in a little bit, and then let it come back out. And hopefully the spring stayed intact. You might have to do this a couple of times if the spring doesn't stay on the nubs on the inside there. But for the most part, it looks like it stayed on. So now that we have the railing on, we're gonna put the screw back on, and then we're gonna put it all back together and see if it fits the phone. Okay, so now as you can see, the default resting width of the arms is much bigger. In doing this, please be warned that if you do use this phone, this mount for smaller phones and bigger phones, this will ruin the mount for smaller phones. They will no longer fit into this because the springs are so spread apart. But if you happen to only use a big phone like me and my wife do, it's much easier to get in with one hand now. It looks a little bit loose, but the silicone really holds it, and this isn't gonna go anywhere. This is how I've been using it for months on end. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Me almost hurting myself. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys later. Bye. There's these rails on the side. Might be able to see it. Am I gonna be able to pull this out? How do I do this? Maybe a little bit more. Woo! Where'd it go?